so I could see what my back and my spine was actually doing, because we're only as healthy as our back is. And there's a beautiful thing that happens when you understand legit what's happening. A lot of us in the health and wellness space just guess. We say that this is the miracle thing: drink celery juice, do this thing, do that thing, do body work, do X, Y, and Z, and then that'll be the thing that cures you, right? But the reality is, like, we don't know unless we can test it, unless it's measurable. And you know, I've sworn by colonics, which I still do. Such a good, beautiful thing to do for oneself. Green juices, all that good stuff. But it wasn't until I started getting tests done and blood work and really checking in and seeing what hormones I was missing. Like, there was a point where I had 3 different parasites. And my cortisol was almost completely gone. I had almost no estrogen and double the testosterone of most men. And so, of course, my body was all out of whack. And when your hormones are out of whack, it affects your moods. It affects your emotions. And a lot of people don't know why they're such assholes. They don't know why they experience, like, what they would call depression or anxiety. And sometimes it's attached to things that you wouldn't even know it was attached to. There's certain deficiencies that are happening in the body that we aren't even clear on until we actually go and get tested. Now, do your doctors want to do that? Of course they don't want to do that, because then you'll be healthy. And who wants a healthy person when the business of sick people makes so much freaking money? So, does that make sense? Is that landing for you guys? I am big on measuring shit. My opinion on chronic illness, you just heard my opinion on chronic illness. I think a lot of shit comes from us not really understanding what's happening. Like, for instance, my spine was not necessarily, so you get tested by finding a naturopathic doctor in your area. Type in naturopathic doctor and then your city, and then go to that doctor and tell them, I want to find out what's really happening, not just do maintenance on bullshit and get flu shots and stupid stuff that doesn't really help. That's how you change the game. Now, I'm going to scroll back up, because somebody said letting go of, there was something to the effect of letting go of offensive shit people say. Now, that's a really big thing, right? Because everybody can be offended by everything. Like, yesterday, I did a post about man cave. And, you know, I said something like, if you have a dick, then I'm talking to you, or you need a dick, or something like that. And somebody wrote me and was like, you know, I really love what you're up to, but I was slightly offended that you left out the transgender people and those who've had, you know, their dicks cut off. And, you know, I said, you know, I own that. That was probably offensive. And like, none of this stuff is scripted. And we can be offended by fucking everything, like legit everything. I could be offended by the grass. I could be offended by the sounds that are happening in the background. So if we live our lives trying to please and make sure nobody is, nobody is offended, we're in trouble. Now, once said people are offended, and you guys could, I'm sure you guys have noticed at this point, I probably offend more people than most. As far as the, how about polygamy? Oh, interesting. It's an interesting subject. Because I don't play the influencer, try to make everybody like me game, which some people do, and it works and it's beautiful, and they play the whole middle of the road thing, and they say things to make everybody like them, and they never necessarily share their complete truth, because if they did, then people would maybe not like them and they wouldn't make as much money, or whatever the case may be, whatever they have attached to that story. I'm rich already, and I'm also wealthy, which is two different things, right? Like, I have money, a bunch of it, and I'm also wealthy. And the wealth is an internal conversation and game. And I know that my wealth and my riches are attached to me speaking my truth no matter what, right? No matter what. Having a code, an honor code, a system for which one lives by. Zach 3 Man, you're one of my favorite people. You constantly try to correct me on everything. You're an asshole for saying there are no assholes. How about that? And I love you, and I know you're God. And God's an asshole as well, but not like for real. So, does that make sense, guys? The thing, so one of the most powerful moves in personal development or emergent wisdom, as Alexi and I have coined it, because the wisdom is already within. We don't need to develop the person. The person is pure consciousness, pure love, and that doesn't need to be developed. What we're talking about is emergent wisdom, and one of the most powerful things one can do in this space, the space of transformation, the space of owning one's own power, is the power of the pivot, the power of shifting, the power of letting go of what was, and what was is even 13 seconds ago, let alone 13 minutes, let alone 13 years. Like, catch what I'm saying here. There is a power in not being so attached to what was. Now, we live in a world that is dictated by time and money and things of that nature, and so there's a line for sure, and it's a tricky one. You got to find what that is for you. How do you know when you feel like you are more aligned than ever and still lost all your cash and have to live at your parents' house, etc.? Is it an ego test? Maybe. I mean, here's the thing. Some of you guys know, at 33, I moved in with my mom. By 37, I was a millionaire. So I knew that I needed to take a few steps back to take a whole bunch of them forward. And a part of that was, things that I had been attached to were going away, and all that my ego was attached to was being taken away from me. But it wasn't being taken in like the bad way, because there is no bad or right or wrong, but it was being taken away in service of what was handwritten on my soul. Is that landing for you guys? Can you simulate a traumatic event to change you? Yes. But what do you mean by that? Can we reenact a traumatic event and then teach the nervous system to reset around said trauma? Yes. That's some of the work that we do in the rooms that we do in Bridge and Extreme Leadership. Polygamy eventually makes sense to me. Awesome. It doesn't for me right now. However, I'm not mad at you for that viewpoint. Best advice for getting out of your head and into your life. Play. Just keep playing. Find spaces every day to do something that makes your heart smile, and there won't be space for you to be in your head. Because the joy is so creative and such a magnet that things will be propelled towards you, including ideas. What up, P? Love from the dirty South, ATL. All right, I have a call coming up soon. Offense depends on our offense depends on our intentions and delivery, right? So if you didn't mean to include them, no offense. If you did, yeah, exactly, homie. That's it. Yes. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. The vaccine, GMO, Matrix, Illuminati, yada, yada, yada. Don't focus on that because you get energy from it. Focus on love, non-judgment, forgiveness. I feel you, brother. Zach 3 Man, I completely agree. And whether I agree or not, is irrelevant. Is there a difference between being popular or being impactful? I think there is. And there's a lot of people. I mean, here's the thing. Yes and no, because everything has an impact. Everything is touching everything. So every word that I utter, every sneeze that you let go of is the butterfly effect. It's all affecting something. Now, what we say that impact is what you would call positive. That's a whole nother ballgame. I don't have as many followers, right? Because I don't have followers. I have family. I have tribe. I have people, real people. Who hit the follow button, but what they're really hitting is the connect button. I don't have as many of those as some of the people who have millions. However, my tribe go just as hard for me as I go for them. Does that make any sense? So impact-wise, I know people who have 3, 4, 5 million followers, and those followers would leave them in a second if they weren't funny, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, I'll walk down the street and, probably every other day someone comes up and is like, what you're doing is impacting people more than you think. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I truly appreciate you. Like that's a part of what also makes me wealthy, because this whole thing could crash and I'd still be fine. I've been finding that I've been so obsessed with money for a long time, constant worrying and thinking about how to make it, how to get it, and it's so toxic. I feel so much anger and stress. Yes, so stop. Stop. Start to get in your joy space every time you're about to pay for something, even if it's just a coffee or a green juice. Like, play with how abundant you are, like that you can do that. Because there's people who can't afford that coffee. Now, and also catch what you're comparing it to. Anytime I've found myself in scarcity and lack of limitation is because I'm in comparison to X, Y, and Z, the person next to me. But they didn't come here. They don't have what's written on my soul is not written on theirs. We have a different dharma. And my dharma is different than theirs. And there is no race. We're not in a race. We're not in a competition. This is lifing. How do I make people take me for real? Take yourself for real. Stay in your love. Yes. Everyone is family, dude. Everyone. Zach, 3-man, I agree. Remind me of what a mudra is again. I think I already know, but that should tell you what my opinion is. I think intention and action, where we're coming from, is more important than the rituals. I know people who do their gratitudes every day. I know a lot of people who do a lot of stuff daily and weekly and all of that stuff, but they are not necessarily coming from, the hand signs, yeah. I can do my hands in any way. It doesn't matter what I do if I don't really truly love myself. Who cares? Right? It's where you're coming from. If you can't feel the passion that bleeds out of me, I can tell you, it's bleeding out of me. Legit. So, whether I meditate with my hands in a certain way or don't meditate at all, who gives 2 Fs? God is everywhere in everything. Every breath that I take is a miracle on this planet. This beautiful spinning blue ball we call Earth. And it's a gift. It's such a gift. Money comes and goes. It will always be there. Take care of your body and mind, and the stress will fall away. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. How do I know who is the right one? Do you think I'm supposed to just feel a doubtless sense about it? No. You'll always doubt. Even when you find your one, you'll doubt it. But the knowingness will beat the doubt. Because, I definitely have had that even with Alexi. I was like, the moment I met her, I was like, that's it. That's it. And then 3 months later, I was like, is it? Or am I tricking myself? Is this another one of those times where it's lust, or this is a season and not a lifetime? As you guys understand, reason, season, lifetime. But the more I listened, and that's one of the best things you can do, is just keep listening. Keep listening, like what's under everything. When you're good, what are your feelings? What about the feeling of the pain? What about the feeling, the pain of feeling rejected or misunderstood from family? How to keep being passionate, conscious, evolving, spiritual path. I mean, one of the best things you could do is ask yourself where you're judging your family as well. Like a lot of times, you know, we read a book, we go to a workshop, and then we think we need to transform our entire families. The reality is we get to transform ourselves, transform the thoughts that would have us thinking that we were separate. You know, I was such a dick to my family, pun intended. Such a dick. I was that guy. I was an angry vegan. I was trying to get them to juice all the time, and they couldn't hear me. I tried to get them to stop being Christians. They couldn't hear me. And then when I finally let all of that go and said, you know what? These are the people who have loved me unconditionally and conditionally, because your family loves you conditionally as well. They believe that you should be doing certain things. My family pushed me into college and then, you know, did their best to tell me I needed to go to grad school. And would I do that over again? Absolutely not. Will I tell my kid that he needs to go to college? Of course not. It's a joke for most people. And however, I get where they were coming from. They loved me and love me and are doing the best they can with the tools and consciousness they have available. So it's very hard to challenge or fight somebody who keeps loving on you and keeping their sovereignty, aka, you know, there's certain things that happen, like with my dad, right, for example, or my mom, where when they go too far, like my mom wanted us to vaccinate Kingston, right, mom and dad, whole family, and there's a point where it's like, no, and F you and I love you, and they got it. You know, everybody wanted us to cut and mutilate his dick so that he was, so his dick looked like how, you know, Americans think dicks should look like. But I believe that God doesn't make mistakes. And so how dare I mutilate my child for the sake of some societal idea about what he should look like? Are you fucking kidding me? He can make that choice. I won't make it for him though. And so I love my family and I love their opinions and I appreciate and respect them. And there comes a time where I hold my sovereignty and can love them from afar if necessary. Okay, I gotta go, guys. There's a lot of beautiful stuff in here. I'll be back at some point. For those of you, real talk, for those of you who want to go deeper, Man Cave. Man Cave is freaking powerful. It starts January 5th. Stretch 22, 6 months, Total Freedom Boot Camp. Go anywhere and everywhere. 3 months, every month, 3 times a month, you're working with me and a small group of other people. You have your own one-on-one coach and an accountability coach and a small group and a buddy. And this is the most high-level accountability you will find in the game. I'm going to save this video and I'll put it up on my IGTV. But point being is, like, any of you guys want to work with me and go deeper, go to my website, prestonsmiles.com /man cave, prestonsmiles.com /stretch22. Fill out the application. You'll have a conversation with me if you are applying for stretch. For Man Cave, there's a algorithm that will catch everything, and then I'll read your application and say yes or no. Blessings and blessings. I love each and every one of you, and I hope that this message resonated and touched some part of your soul and reminded you who and what you really are, which is pure, unadulterated love. Rastafari, let's get it. Rude.